Maybe the best gift I've ever received was a real camera, which I forgot on the way out of the door today. I've always liked the idea of photography, but never really found the time, effort, or money to make it happen. When phones got cameras, it was fun, but I didn't take it all too seriously. But on Christmas Day, 2017, my wife, Alice, gave me a Canon Rebel, which is not the most fabulous camera, but it's a real camera. And for the very first time, I had a camera that I would say was a good camera. And by the way, this is not an endorsement of the Canon Rebel. Now, on Christmas morning, 2017, here are the first few pictures I took with that. We have one of those at our house. And that's me in the middle. I thought I was being very artistic in the moment. As time went on, I began thinking about taking pictures and what I would like to take pictures of. I have some black and white photography that I've purchased in my house through the years, and I've always liked black and white photos. And as I began to practice over time, I realized that what I'd like to take pictures of things were the things that I found beautiful or interesting in some ways that I would like to capture on film, so to speak. So as I share things with others and remembrances of time, I could have those things captured forever. As my picture taking grew, there would be times when I would just see something that I liked, and I would raise my camera and I would click and then move on, and that certainly was one way to do it. Something, however, happened as time progressed for me. I began to realize that in order to capture the beauty and moments of the time that I was interested in capturing, I had to start listening and paying attention to the world around me in a different way. In what became growing, what I now call a growing spiritual practice, I would enter an outdoor space like the Memorial Grove, or just a walk in the woods, and I would pay attention in a much different way. I would open my ears and my eyes. I would try to use all my senses to enter into a space instead of just passing through it. I would quiet my mind and I would listen. Did I hear the rustling of the leaves? Did I hear a bird's call? If so, where was it? And maybe I could identify it. Did I hear a plane or cars or water running or not much of anything at all? Then I widened my field of vision and I would sort of soften my focus and look for and in some ways feel the movement around me. What did I see moving out of the corner of my eyes? Was it a branch blowing in the wind, or was it a butterfly? Or maybe a bee? It's a bee. I love bees, by the way. And I would look for things on the flower petals, or I'd find things in the branches. And then there were times where I was just struck by the natural beauty of things like this, which is outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, with a storm in the background. Or the next one, which was just outside here on the leaves on the stairs leading to the office after a rainfall. This all took a different kind of attention than I was used to. My life requires me to often focus or multitask. I'm often trying to decrease my distractions in order to concentrate, whether I'm in a meeting or sitting down to write, although the staff would often say that I am distracted by the birds at my bird feeder. But as I start to move into this spiritual practice more deeply, listening to the world around me, the way I approached this as a spiritual practice started to grow as I started to pay more attention to it. One of the primary principles of Adrienne Marie Brown's emergent strategy, something we've been using here at UUCF as a guide, is what we pay attention to grows. And I've been paying a lot of attention lately to the news and what's been happening with the election. And what's been growing is my own personal anxiety. I haven't gone on many of my spiritual photographic practices lately, and I haven't been taking very many pictures. And you know what? This is not the best thing for one's self-care. I've been listening and talking with some of you lately, and it sounds like some of you have been spending a lot of time on social media, the news and what's happening with the election and other events in the world. And what you've been paying attention to seems to also be growing in many of the minds of those in this congregation. Of course, this is completely natural, and I might say somewhat expected, but here is also what I have to say. We all, including me, might very much benefit in these days to paying attention to our own equivalent of my photographic walks in the woods. This is not a short-term thing that we are going through. We are in it for the long haul, and the day after the election on November 5th is November 6th, and the next day is the 7th, and so on and so on. No, don't stop getting out the vote or writing postcards or phone banking or watching the news or being concerned. But what we pay attention to grows, and we all deeply need to listen to the part of our souls that need nourishment, that we need to persevere, center, and ground ourselves in the deeper we, you and me. Whether it be a walk in the woods, a long bike ride, kids, a short walk, or just a few minutes sitting quietly in a chair in a familiar place, and maybe like on this morning together, how we can pay attention and listen again. And I invite you to close your eyes if you wish and feel comfortable doing that. To the sound of breathing, creaking chairs, shuffling feet, playing children, clearing throats and sighing all around, knowing that each breath, each movement, the glance meant for you or intercepted holds a life of your fellow congregant within it. These are signs that we choose to be in this company and have things to say to each other. Things not yet said, but in each other's presence, still trembling behind our heart's doors, these doors closed but unlocked, each silent thing waiting on the threshold between unknowing and knowing, between hidden and being known. Find that silence among these people and listen to it. All of it, the breathing, the sighs, the playing, the movement. And hear the tears that have not yet reached our eyes. Perhaps they are your own. And hear also the laughter building deep where joy abides despite everything. Despite everything. Despite the news. Despite the election. Despite the conflicts that we humans can't seem to avoid. With all that and despite all that, pay attention and deeply listen to that need in us and how we can find the place this week and in the weeks to come where peace and joy abides. We can't do this without joy. Where we focus more on our connection than our polarization. Where we seek and recognize and find beauty that exists all around us, and where we can listen, rejoice, and with true and an honest gratitude. Say amen.